Welcome back. Welcome freaking back. WNYWaterCooler.com podcast. We got Steven Coast.
We're back, baby.
Thursday night we're recording this. Not a lot going on. Just college football, two huge baseball games, NFL, Sabres, if anyone knows what that is. But we'll get through this.
We're back on the Super Bowl train.
Because what, they didn't get a second Hail Mary completed? Talk
Game
about an
should,
ugly win. Holy shit.
that's one argument. I think we were headed towards the laying the smack down if it wasn't for the Hail Mary. That changed everything in that game. 2010, going to half 2010, you're getting the ball. You have all the momentum. You're thinking, you're about to give the dagger a shot, and instead it's 20-17, and you're just deflated. It just changed the entire complexion of the game.
So they have the two DNs like 20 yards downfield
Yeah,
guarding the edges or something. Like, what was that? They're rushing two, and I'm screaming, "Stop! You can't rush two!"
yeah, so was I. I guess from like a risk standpoint, they're afraid of giving up the sidelines, and they're worried about, it was a super windy night as well. And I wouldn't be as worried about Zerline having like a 60-yard field goal attempt. We've given up Hail Marys in the past, and Aaron Rodgers has completed Hail Marys in the past. I don't understand why you would want to give them a free shot at it. Like,
Yeah,
to
no,
me, that makes no sense whatsoever. I'd
yeah.
rather give up a 10-yard out and have them try. And remember, they had no timeouts. I mean, why couldn't you cover the sideline and rush for and not let anyone beat you deep? Isn't that what we do as a defense in general? Is not let teams throw deep on us? Like, why couldn't we just? I don't know. It just seemed illogical to me at the time.
Not just rushing two is just it's unbelievable
You're
almost.
just
But
giving them the opportunity, which and then of course there's 21 seconds left, and we kick it out of the end zone. So you're taking up no time. I mean, haven't we learned our lesson on this? I know it's harder to like execute the kickoffs now, but just kick it deep, let them run. That's going to take up like 6, 7 seconds. And then we give them the free 20 or whatever it was, 15-yard pass over the middle. I guess that was a good throw. Like, wasn't wide open. It's just, we consistently just butcher these situations.
it's really like, I mean, we're gonna analyze the games. We're gonna talk about this team nonstop for the next 5 months or whatever. But you just like, we really are gonna trust this guy to get us to the end, to get us a Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah, I was, I was so angry after that Hail Mary. I texted you guys. I'm like, he's coaching for his job in the second half. But if we would have lost that game with this Hail Mary, which that would have been another week of back-to-back weeks of like second guessing this guy and his coaching decisions and crunch time situations and that haven't worked out. And it's just becoming a broken record. But I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, we got the win. And, I really think if it wasn't for that play, we're winning going away and we're not, the second half isn't as stressful as it was. I mean, the second half was an absolute circus.
there was so many flags and so many like that Rodgers fumble. They said in
Yeah.
the and they said even if the pass went backwards, it wasn't a fumble. What does that mean?
If the defender like causes it to go backwards or something, like then, but he wasn't trying to throw. I mean, like to me, it was a tuck. He tucked it. Like he was clearly not trying to throw it. I don't know, but these guys, Rodgers going to get the benefit of the doubt there. To me, it seemed like a clear fumble. He tucked it and it went backwards. And he I like how Aikman was just like, I feel like there was a few times like the roughing the passer on Epinesa. I think was another one where Aikman was just like, yeah, he's like, I hear you to whatever booth ref they have. He's like, but I just don't agree. I think he said the same thing on the fumble. He was like, "Oh yeah, that just is a fumble." I think the announcers were getting sick of all I mean, the refs, the number of critical game changing calls they made in the second half is not sure I've ever seen anything like it.
And I mean, both teams' fan bases, at least what I saw online, is just both teams are bitching that it's like they're in cahoots, they're rooting for them. I mean, I guess there were calls both ways. I was trying to remember there was a roughing the passer on Allen, right?
Yeah, but the guy threw him down. I mean, it was way different. You can make the argument that it shouldn't have been a flag, but it like paled in comparison to the Epinesa one, where Epinesa tackles him. He even like put his arm down. I don't know if he was trying to strip the ball or what, but he like broke his fall. Like there was no body weight, whatever they tried to call. It was just very bizarre. And then the Jets ended up getting points on that drive, marching it down the field. I mean that's a game altering play. The roughing the passer on us. I don't remember what down it was, but he whatever. I mean, you could make the argument that it shouldn't have, but there was a lot of weird calls. Like the one that really bothered me was Allen throws deep to Hollins again, his favorite thing to do, and they call pass interference, and it gets offset by unsportsmanlike on Spencer Brown, and they showed the replay, and it was just like, what? He blocked the guy? Like what? What are they calling that? There, you know what play I'm talking about?
What was it again?
They called like an unnecessary roughness on Spencer Brown. He like blocked the
Oh
dude.
yeah. They didn't show the replay, and they didn't
It,
even have it on there.
it was just like in an offset, like a 40-yard pass interference, and they had the Jets had a third down throw to Garrett Wilson that Rodgers overthrew by like 10 yards. And they called an illegal contact on Benford, which I thought was, even if the pass was on target, I thought was a little bit dicey. So there were just a lot of foul flags that really, I thought, favored them and helped them out a lot in the second half. I mean, I guess
And
there was,
what did you're telling me that Dawkins was the only one that deserved a penalty during
yeah,
the end of the quarter?
exactly. Like, right, exactly. And they didn't even really explain like what happened there. It was just like, I don't know. I mean,
But
were
then
they,
they made up for that with the one D lineman for the Jets was just walking by. He must have been just chirping,
yeah.
and they
Well,
threw a flag there.
that was after our field goal, I think. And then I was losing it when so this is another McDermott thing that I like. To me, this is just simple math. Like you're kicking it, we get the 15-yard penalty and force on the kickoff. We're kicking from the 50. Explain the logic in kicking it through the end zone there. Like you give them the ball at the 30, that's 20 net yards. You can just do an onside kick. It's worst case scenario, assuming the ball goes 10 yards, is it's a 10-yard difference, and you have like the chance of something weird happening. I don't know. That just really kind of bugged me. It was just like, what are we doing here?
And that's like the minutia.
Pooch
Like,
it. You can't pooch it 40 yards.
yeah. So and that's like with the new kickoff rules. Like he probably just doesn't even know.
Yeah, like the touchback, kick it out of the end zone, they get it to 30. You're kicking from the 50. Like, what are you doing? That was, I don't know. It was
It's just
crazy.
very strange that these things like it's not that complicated. Like we're not there. We don't have 20 guys at our leisure to I mean, if it was my job to know the exact rules with these kickoffs and stuff, I'd hire somebody to just know. Okay, what is
Yeah.
this? Okay, we're getting it at the 50 because of that stupid penalty. What should we be doing here? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean that I feel like the most logical point, because I feel like, the onside kick, whatever. But the most logical thing would have just been to pooch it, 45 yards. And because they line up, they're lining up. I mean, your guys are lining up at like the 40 or whatever. The whole, I don't know. You gotta be better than that. I feel like not a good stretch of coaching for McDermott the last few games, but
Few
But they got
games.
the win. They got the win. I thought the offense played well, especially in the first half. 3 touchdowns in the first half. Um, they ran the ball well. Allen made plays. Defensively, too easy, man. Too easy in between the 20s, especially. They tightened up in the red zone, but got a little bit lucky. I have no idea how Brees Hall didn't score on that one play where he got like Rapp was able to stop him. Obviously, 2 missed field goals for their kicker, which kind of offset our kicker, disaster kicker. But they had a touchdown called back with a hold. So they gave up 9 plays, 21 or more yards on our defense did. So the defense is still a bit concerning. You got a team that's been struggling offensively, especially to run the ball, and we just got gashed. So
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, they pretty much stopped them. I mean,
bend but don't break.
yeah, I guess. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then they trade for Adams, and then like an hour later we trade for Amari Cooper. I mean, some of this I don't know. The Jets to me, I mean, their schedule is just like opened up. It's like insanely
But
easy.
don't you think every single team on the schedule that sees the Jets considers it as, oh, the schedule eases up. We got the Jets. I mean, we're talking about the Jets like they didn't lose to Denver. Like the Jets
They are
are the
two and
one.
four.
Yeah, like the Jets are a team where other teams are going to be happy to play too, as well. I think, especially tough game this weekend. They lose in Pittsburgh Sunday night, and they're 2-5. I just they're a joke of a franchise. The Adams trade, desperation, the throwing Mike Williams under the. I mean, Rodgers is a total piece of shit.
What did he even say? I didn't even bother going back and listening to it again.
He basically just blamed Mike Williams for running the wrong route on that last interception. He said it in his press conference, after the game, and then he said it on the McAfee show again. And like, because I think McAfee like asked him about it, and Rodgers, is like passive aggressive. He's sort of like Stefan Diggs with the media. Like he's, well, just comes off a certain way. But he's throwing Mike Williams, right under the bus and talking about accountability. He's like, I hold myself to a standard. And then Mike Williams is like a healthy scratch at practice on Wednesday. I don't know if he practiced today, but they're probably looking to
He
trade
came
him.
back to play. He came back and played.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, they're probably trying to trade him, and it's just, I mean, and Rodgers saying he knew nothing about the firing of Saleh, knew nothing about, I'm sure he knew about the Adams trade at least somewhat. I don't know if he said he didn't, but the guy's a joke. The every move they make just seems like a desperate, like knee jerk reaction. But maybe they had the Adams trade in place, like well in advance. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, thank God we won. So they're just
I
the
know,
Jets. We don't really
seriously.
have to share. We don't have to worry about them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice for them to get the loss um, this Sunday, and then if we can beat Tennessee, then we're 3 games clear, and because obviously our schedule's a little more difficult than theirs, um, but I don't know. I like the we've talked about it, in earlier this season. I think we've talked about how Cooper would be like the perfect target given his salary cap implications, $800,000, and he's. I mean, you could argue he's as good of a player now as Adams. He's healthy. He had 1,200 yards last year receiving, which is more than what Diggs had. Um, so I think it's a great addition for the Bills. Now, will it 100% work? Time will tell, but at least he has a track record of succeeding with a mid-year trade in the past. So I think that shows that he, should be able to pick things up rather quickly, hopefully.
That was just the Saints. Rattler got sacked and fumbled the ball. Denver walked it into the end zone, but then there was a penalty on Denver. This game is horrible. This Thursday night game is horrible. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, Amari Cooper trade. I mean, it was the obvious thing to do. I spelled it out. I actually
Clearly.
wrote about it a little bit because I'm not giving Bean any credit for doing the obvious fucking thing. I mean, it was clear. I've been bitching about this ever since the Diggs trade. It was clear to anyone with a brain. I mean, you of course are just going to defend him because that's what you have to do. I don't know. You're on the payroll or whatever, but like one quarter, half a quarter, or half a game, one half, however much time anyone needed. Oh shit, we need a receiver. Oh man, we missed an all-pro guy that was just well, okay. He disappeared sometimes. Maybe he dropped a few big passes, but he's an all-pro. He was a second team all-pro. He literally has the most catches in the league the last 4 years. I mean, like, yeah, we needed to replace him. Okay, so Cleveland did a smart thing. Shocking. They did something smart. They redid his contract so that they could trade his ass easier.
Oh, I mean,
I mean,
when you got 100 mil dead cap next year in your quarterback,
yeah.
you you kind of have to. But dude, there lots to unpack. I mean, Diggs had to go. We just got to put that to bed. They did what they needed to do with Diggs, and he had to go. He didn't want to be here. He and Allen hate each other. Diggs is a piece of shit as well, and he had to go. The replacement thing, I think both things can be true. Where they wanted to, well, first of all, they could not have replaced Diggs with someone like Cooper as cheaply in the offseason. Would you agree with that?
Well, they didn't have any cap space to do it. I mean, I don't know. There wasn't probably much.
Well,
There
yeah, I mean,
wasn't an obvious option.
your argument is they should have just kept Diggs, but I feel like we have to agree that that was not an option.
Or trading Diggs and getting something different.
What are you going to trade Diggs for? You got a second round pick for him,
For the next year.
right? But I
So
mean,
it didn't help.
they drafted a receiver with their first pick this year,
They
and
traded back twice and didn't get any extra picks out of that either.
but were they going to go like use their first pick for a receiver? If they got a second round pick this year, were they going to go like receiver? I just don't think that they were gonna. They added a receiver in the draft.
Well,
Fine,
maybe they could have moved it up higher, which
maybe, but I think that it's possible that the. I'm not going to say the plan because I think the plan was well. Hopefully,
there wasn't one.
well, I think that there. Well, the plan could have been three things. One, he had no plan, like you're saying, which I feel like I give Bean more benefit of the doubt than
I'm
that.
sure he had what was it? We have the outline of a plan.
We have concepts of
We have the
a plan.
concept of
We
we have
have
a
the
concept of a
concepts of a
plan.
plan.
I think that's what it is. You have the
Yeah.
concept of a plan.
But he could have been thinking like, we're gonna see how it goes with these guys that we got, and we know that there is gonna be a possibility that we could trade for these players during the season, depending on how things go. And obviously, it's a risk because if the Browns were actually good, then they wouldn't be trading Cooper. But so I guess I'm saying is we it ended up working out. We're 4-2. We're in first place in the division, and we got uh, I mean, would you say he's a number one, like a number one receiver? Uh, for
He's
nothing, not nothing, but very cheap.
yeah, well, the third round pick.
Yeah, third round pick.
I mean,
We
he's probably a poor man's one, yes.
yeah. Um, so I think it all like ended up working out, and now we got to hope he can assimilate into the offense quickly, and this should help the rest of the receiving core as well. Um, free up. Hopefully, they can use Coleman maybe in a more natural position, and they won't get Coleman, Shakir. These guys won't get the other team's best cover guys, and then if we do like if Coleman, if Cooper has a good year and ends up leaving in free agency, I think we get it like a third round comp pick back. So it's like free, basically.
Well, it depends what contract he gets.
Right. But it's like if he has although if he does well with us, I would expect us to. I would say if he succeeds with us and fits in good and produces, I wouldn't mind giving him like a 2 year deal because it probably wouldn't be that costly.
Yeah, I mean, if it was cheaper, cheapish, but I mean, keeping him, well, it's tough to say. We'll see what happens, but I mean, they even Bean even said, "Oh, well, it's going to be, it takes a while to acclimate, and that's why we did it a couple weeks before the deadline."
Right.
So,
I mean,
I
he's
mean,
gonna
we better be able to use him. Like I was saying, McDermott only likes his guys, and Cooper has no history with our offensive coordinators, so I don't know. Is he going to be able to acclimate himself into this offense? That's
hopefully.
basically the question.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they gotta play him this weekend. I mean, whatever if you don't play him, then you're bringing Shavers up from the practice squad, and I would hope that whatever package you can put in for Cooper would be more beneficial than having Shavers play. So I would fully expect him to play this weekend, right?
He'll play. I don't know how much he's going to.
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying they'll try and get him just a few routes that he'll be able to run
Hey,
himself. I don't,
hey,
oh, damn, I like how you treat your kids. I love that.
no worries, man. But we tie up our dogs. Jesus Christ. Hello?
Why we tie up our dogs?
Dog just charged at us from this guy's garage. Jesus Christ. Great. That's all on recorded podcast, Cam. We can edit that out, right?
There's no video. Oh,
Or
that's fun
audio.
audio. Yeah, the audio is fun to keep in there.
This guy's screaming at his dog, and these people in this neighborhood, they like it's a neighborhood with a billion houses. People just let their dogs be like unleashed all the time. I get charged at by dogs constantly here. It's crazy to me.
Weird. Well, let's just.
Edit that out. I'm
I don't have.
flustered. I'm flustered now.
Well, leave like 10 seconds of silence so I know where it is.
Okay.
Well, I'm done with the Cooper talk. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I just don't have. I'm not giving him extra points for doing the obvious. And I mean, we'll see. I think it'll work out. I don't know how much of an effect it'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm optimistic about it, and I think he's gonna only help us without a doubt. And
It's not like he's stealing any touches away from anyone that I give a fuck about. I mean, Mac Hollins,
well, yeah, and that's the thing too about
Valdez Scantling.
yeah, who's did we bring him back on the practice squad or is he just gone?
I doubt he would. I didn't. I don't know. We cut. Well, we had to cut someone from the practice squad to get that other kicker.
Yeah, that's right. Um, well, that's um. So you mentioned the taking away targets thing. That's the other thing about the Adams trade for the Jets. Not to circle back to that, but right now they're giving Garrett Wilson like leads the league in targets. I mean, every target you're giving Adams is less like I don't know, like you're taking targets away from Wilson. I just don't think that's the Jets' problem, really.
Well, it's Rodgers wanting and preferring people that he knows and trusts. So yeah, it diminishes your probably your number one asset. Top No, Garrett Wilson's got to be their number one asset. So it's diminishing his value. I mean, we don't care about fantasy football, but he's going to have less targets. It's the oh yeah, sure, I'll share the spotlight with another top receiver. I mean, we all know how these receivers are. They're crazy divas, so we'll see. And then they changed his contract around, so it lowered his cap, but he's gonna cost him money in the future now.
Yeah,
I mean, the
exactly.
cap's weird, but yeah, so it's only the problem because Rodgers has his preferences. Like no one had that other dickhead at all. What's his name that played for the Packers and
Lazard, Cobb,
yeah, Lazard.
Lazard.
No one ever had Lazard doing anything this year, but because Rodgers knows him and likes him, oh yeah, I'll throw it to my buddy all the time. So
Yeah, that's true.
we'll see
Yeah,
what happens if he really decreases the big dog's stuff. Uh,
I'm sure Wilson's gonna be thrilled with his targets being cut in half. Guy's been sitting rotting away with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Now he's the
yeah.
focal point of the offense, and anyways, got sidetracked there. But
So the
yeah,
Titans, I mean, this team finds ways to lose. They they're
what are they? 1-5, one
for
and
some
four.
reason they only have four losses for them.
Must have had a bye in there.
But they lost to Caleb in his first game. They gave up a pick six. They gave up a blocked punt, both for touchdowns, obviously. Uh, they lose to Rodgers in a game where,
Remember that fumble Levis had, like
yeah, I mean
in the red
it
zone?
would have been 10-0 like late first quarter, but instead
Yeah,
Levis just decides to throw it backwards to nobody. And then
that was
they played
terrible.
Malik Willis.
Yeah,
So part of this
Skylar
is
Thompson or
no, it was
whoever,
actually
Huntley.
yeah, it was Tyler Huntley. Yeah, Willis in that game they also gave up another pick six, and the Packers ended up pulling away. Uh, then
And they,
they beat the Dolphins on a Monday night. That was the first week after Tua.
yeah,
So it was Tyler
second
Huntley who
week.
they just signed that week,
Yeah,
literally, and then they lost to Joe Flacco.
yeah, they've
And
played. So yeah,
The Colts, their whole team got hurt in that game or
Taylor was
whatever.
out.
Yeah, he got hurt, and so did their big receiver. He played.
So
Yeah, they had a bye at week five,
yeah, because people talk about how the Titans have like a really good defense, top five, whatever.
and that's what I'm
But
saying. So they played
you can't
Caleb
imagine
Williams,
a worse.
Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers in the rain, Malik Willis, Tyler Huntley, and Joe Flacco. That's four backups. I mean, Caleb's not. That was his first game, so he was
Caleb's
a
playing good now, but that game he threw for like 80 yards.
yeah. That was his first game ever. I mean, even Washington, the Commanders fucking guy looked bad in week one.
I'm not sold on the Commanders yet, but they're decent. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what to make of this Titans squad. They got some. I guess they got some players on offense, but I mean Hopkins is old. Ridley's not doing shit. Levis obviously sucks. Um, what else they got? Boyd, Tyler Boyd.
Pollard had a he, no. I got some of this written down. Pollard, he's looked
Oh
decent the
shit.
last two games. He's got 93 and 88 yards rushing the last two
Oh, they'll
games.
gash us on the ground probably. Although I don't know with it. Well, they might run well on us, but Levis strikes me as the type of quarterback that McDermott feasts off of.
Yeah.
He's going to be confused. He's it's going to be like Sam Howell last year when he had like 5 picks.
Yeah, they need a reverse. They need the Titans to play like us with weird special team shit. For some reason, Allen's throwing a pick and fumble touchdown, which I mean it's always
Allen
possible.
throwing a pick. What? That's not something he does.
But this is one of those games
Eight
where
games in a row.
McDurr just fucking. It's like, oh yeah, remember week six last year when the Bills won like 80-3? Well, I mean, we have like a couple of those before Halloween, like every year.
Yeah, we have one this year. Yeah, we had like 40-0 over Houston. Um,
Hopkins, Ridley, and Boyd. I mean, that's pretty
yeah,
good trio. I'm wondering if Hopkins. The last thing I wanted to say about Cooper was the other receivers that are going to get traded.
oh yeah,
What they go for, their cap hits and shit. We'll see. I think a bunch might get moved, but Sometimes I think that.
Hopkins might be more washed though than Cooper. I mean, Cooper had like a 265-yard receiving game like last December.
Yeah, broke Cleveland's record.
Yeah,
And then they just cut Jamal Adams, but I looked it up. He basically only played in one game. He played like 17% of the snaps in one game. He wasn't dressed
yeah.
for two others, and then he played 1% of the defensive snaps in the other two games. So
Another guy who's washed.
yeah. And he's still young.
Really? He's got to
Yeah.
be like 30, right?
I think he's only 29, 28.
Oh, that's crazy.
But he's had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
The Jets
Did
traded
he?
up for him, and then Seattle traded first for him. Like,
Yeah, okay. So he got drafted by the Jets, then he was traded to Seattle. Yeah, okay.
mhm.
Wow, the Jets got a first for him. Might be the best move in their
Yeah, it was one of their rare
history of
good
their
moves.
franchise.
It might have been a first and more, a lot more, but
Yeah.
so not. I mean, let's look. I wouldn't even know the spread. Has it moved at
Eight
all?
and
It was 8.5. It's
yeah, last I saw it was still 8.5, but
the weather is just looking beautiful. It's very strange this game. The tickets, you mentioned it to me a
they're
few weeks
insane.
ago, and I was like, what the fuck? I mean, it makes no sense.
They're like, if you want to sit in the lower bowl, it's like 200 plus.
Very,
And
very odd to me. What is that? Why is there such a big draw for this game? Because I mean, maybe I love
I
night
would say,
games and shit, and it's up to 9.5. 9.5, 41 is the total.
well, I think there could be a few things going on. One being, I weirdly, I think the 1 p.m. games, maybe this is what you just said, but like, I feel like the demand has like flip flopped from the night games and the 1 p.m. games. Like, I think
Th-
people, especially this time of year, they want to go to the 1 p.m. games
Yeah, it's like
when it's beautiful
nostalgia
weather.
almost, and yeah, you don't have to deal with like the late night traffic and shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that
it's
must be
almost,
what it is, because
yeah.
these tickets are more expensive than almost any of the other games.
And I was going to say weather too, but like, I think I sent you a screenshot like at least maybe a couple weeks ago, and they were already like crazy expensive. So I don't know. I've been looking at Dolphins tickets. They're roughly the same, but I don't know.
1 PMers. Uh,
Is that our last one? Maybe until the Jets, week 17.
yeah,
I don't know. Because we got the Niners at night. Chiefs is probably
that's a
is
425 game. That's not going to get changed either. Then I
yeah.
think that's it. So on the Patriots game
Really?
late.
We got
Patriots
Pats,
game late.
Jets. What are we missing?
Dolphins,
Pats, Jets, Dolphins,
KC and SF. Well,
Chiefs,
that's it.
Tennessee. That's five. That's only seven. We've only played two home games so far. Missing one.
Would have thought I knew the schedule, but we don't have much time here. So
Lions, Chiefs. I don't know. Um, I think we smoke the Titans. I think we get a bunch of turnovers. Not sure how off. I think we'll score a lot of points in large part because a lot of this is gonna give us a bunch of short fields, but um, I think we're gonna win this one like 33-9.
well, we weren't including the Titans game that we're talking about. Arizona, Jacksonville, Titans, Dolphins, Chiefs, Niners, Patriots, Jets.
That's 8 games. No, wow. I feel like the season's almost over.
Yeah, because we have so many fucking road games. But yeah, I mean, the last thing I was going to get in because we got like 20 seconds. Like the dogs were covering, and then last week or two, the home
Flip
teams have been
flopped.
starting to flip flop. Which I think, yeah, I'm predicting like 35-10. I'm not scared of the Callahan.
No.
Give me a fucking break. Well, we'll see you at the
All
lots
right,
at
man.
9:30.
8:30.